All right, everybody. Here we are back again, and it is the Wheels and Shaky podcast. We're calling this one episode 5.1, 5.5 and a half. I don't know what we're calling it, but it's
So
not
it's more
quite.
than a half. Come on,
Well,
5.75 at least.
I don't know. It's not six because it's a continuation of five. Anyway, so here we are with episode 5 point something, five and five plus.
Part two.
Yes, part deux. Part bleu. You know what? It is a little bit part bleu because we're going to get into some bleu
There
topics.
we go. I got plenty of
Yeah.
to talk about.
So, yes, as you hear, for those of you who are listening and or visualize and can see the visual representation um of what we're doing. Why
Sorry
is it?
about that.
That's okay. Um,
I'm saying sorry to anyone who has to watch.
you will be. You can hear and see that Wheels is back. Wheels is back, and she is on the road to recovery.
Yes.
There we go. And for those of you who missed episode 5, if you jumped right to this without listening to episode 5, my suggestion would be go back to episode 5 and listen to that, which episode 5 features me and Mrs. Shaky, because at that point Wheels was incapacitated, and I will let you
Yes.
roll with that. So today, what we're doing is buttoning up a couple open issues, open questions that we had from episode
Buttoning up. Ha
5.
ha ha.
Yeah, yes, very
Zipping
much.
it up.
We're going to zip up a few things. We're going to pull. We're going to make sure we pull everything up and get it all zipped up and buttoned up, and
Yeah.
and
Make sure
and
there's
and
no
then
toilet paper hanging out.
and wipe everything clean.
Ah, nice one.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Yes, this is another one of those toilet episodes. So first off, why don't we just start with where have you been?
Where have I been? The same place I was exactly a month ago. Yeah, that was awful fun. That was a Sunday night. My body decided to spike a fever, and ambulances were called. I was shuffled off to the hospital where I started. So it's quite mysterious. In the middle of the night, I snuck out. A lot of people were confused. I was very confused. Of course, I was out of my mind. But I got to stay in the hospital for another week. Yay me! Fought a fever for 5 days. Um, those of us who have MS understand that MS and fever do not get along. It was not a good week. I've had 4 kids. I've had meningitis. And I can tell you that was probably the most miserable 5 days I have ever spent. So I am now back in the rehab hospital on my encore tour, right back where I started. The fever rebooted my system. We're still trying to figure out what it did to me exactly.
I like how you say it rebooted your system, like they basically just came in and like unplugged you and plugged you back in.
I have done that before, but no,
Yeah,
I
no.
all of a sudden mysteriously can move my left leg. I can move my left arm. I don't know why. They're still not working well, but they're moving.
You know what this is? You know what this is going to? This is going to promote IT people to start becoming medical workers. Have
How
you tried?
so?
Well, because think about it. Have you? They're going to watch. You're not feeling well. You're not. Something's not right. Just
Reboot.
unplug it and plug it back in.
Oh, no. We are
That
trying electrical stimulation this time. We are experimenting on all sorts of good ways to see what's going to make me work. But it's just weird that all of a sudden some things work. Ironically, should I say the part that doesn't work right now? It's kind of the topic of
well,
consideration.
yeah. Considering look, it's on you because you're
I have no shame. I will say that
full
my
transparency.
midsection no longer works. My left leg is coming back, my left arm is coming back. However, my midsection is non-functional. So this episode is very, very important to what I'm going through right now.
Okay, so
But a lot of it is because of I did have a procedure,
okay.
and they had to put a stent in with my kidney, which led to me to having a Foley, a catheter for a few days, which totally messed up
We
my
can't.
digestive system.
Okay, first we can't call it a Foley because I know too many Foleys. We got Axel Foley, Pat Foley. There's
Oh, forgot about Pat. Oh,
Yeah,
You're not gonna do the theme song? What is the,
there's too many Foleys that we've had in our lives that
is
so we can't call it a Foley.
is that offensive? Or it's a really important medical
No, it's not. No, it's
thing,
no, it's
but
not. No, it's not offensive. But it's not offensive. But for because of the mental image that it puts in my head of where the Foley, what the
yeah.
Foley does, and where it goes. I have images of a very small Pat Foley in your hoo ha,
Of
and that
course.
right. So right,
You are
exactly.
disgusting. Oh
Well,
my god.
that's what. Okay, hey, it could be Axel Foley.
Oh,
This is
that
because
yeah.
Axel Foley's not going to fall for a banana in the tailpipe.
I'm
Axel
suddenly
Foley's not going to fall for a
no.
banana in the hoo ha either. So yeah,
Ugh,
yeah, right,
no, 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 no. Let
exactly. So
let's
please,
just
let's
say
go with catheter. While catheter is kind of a gross term in and of itself, catheter works because there's only one thing that a catheter is ever going to be. Foley, too broad of a term.
okay, well, it was a catheter because they had to put a stent to reroute between my kidney and my bladder
Okay.
because I did go septic and I had infection everywhere, messed with my heart. But after 7 days, I got it under control enough so like, yay, I could go back to rehab and start all
Woohoo.
over. But I did it once, I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah, but I can. So I can clearly see just by talking to you and just even through our little camera here, I can clearly see that you look better now than you did the last time you were in rehab because. And I think the last time you were in rehab, that infection was still in there. Your body was still fighting it, and you were still raging on. Now, now that now that you have seemingly got the bacteria and the whatever it is infection stuff out of beaten out of your system, and it has exited your body through the Pat Foley in your hoo ha, then that's going to be a thing. That's going to be a
That's gonna
problem.
be gross. Oh, no, no,
Yeah,
no.
it is exited through the banana in your tailpipe. Then
Not there either. No, 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 no.
look,
There
man,
was no
I ain't
banana
gonna
in my
fall for no
tailpipe.
I ain't gonna fall for no banana in my tailpipe. Um, so yes, so now I see that but you clearly seem a little bit more on top of things. I'll say. Um,
Well, what happened the first time is they did what they have been doing for, what, 7 months. When I was in the hospital the first time, they gave me an antibiotic, sent me to rehab, and of
Dang.
course, when I finished my course of antibiotics, within 5 days, booyah,
Right.
infection came back.
Right.
So when I went to the hospital this time, 103-degree fever, no joke, it was not fun. Um, the infectious disease doctor, it took 4 days to run this whole test to find really nasty bacteria in my system, in my kidney lining, in my bladder. It was, ugh. So we tried multiple different antibiotics, finally found one that worked.
Okay.
So I
Pretty
had that
reasonable sig
constantly. I had that 12 hours a day. So
Okay.
that should have gotten rid of everything. Except
Okay.
now I'm here, I'm on the pill form of it. And I still, in a month, have to go back and get the kidney stent taken out and the kidney stone fixed. So I will be on the antibiotics until then. So
Okay.
hopefully it will just kill freaking everything.
So that's not. I don't know if that's a new nugget of information. Using the word nugget quite eloquently there.
Oh my
Um,
god.
is it a new nugget of information that you have a kidney stone? I don't know if we brought that up on. I mean, I knew it, you knew it, other people knew it, but I don't know if we talked about it here.
Well, yeah, because that became the big name player in all of this. Everyone forgot that the UTI I still had, and I've had that for 7 months. And that is the big name player in this. The kidney stone and all of the other stuff is a byproduct of that. The kidney stone ended up blocking my urethra, whatever.
Oof.
I know, don't even. So it ended up blocking that. So
Yeah.
that's why they put the stent in.
Hmm.
And that's why now they have to keep me on the antibiotics long enough to go back and get the kidney stone. They have to replace the stent. It's this whole thing.
So to be
And in the
clear,
meantime, I'm still fighting UTI, so we gotta get rid of that
there it is,
puppy.
and there it is again. So every time you say UTI, I think we should try to get a sponsorship from Universal Technical Institute.
Well, and every time I say urethra, you know who I think of.
Urethra Franklin.
Yeah, exactly. So
Hi, baby.
it is my
Um,
urethra, right?
yes,
I'm saying the right
urethra.
word.
Well, because there was Aretha Franklin, and then
Right.
there was her distant twin cousin Urethra Franklin, who
Well, I'm having trouble with my
who was
urethra.
not as talented and never remembered the words to anything.
Well,
Hey,
I
baby.
remember the word now.
Yes, Urethra Franklin,
Imagine Urethra Franklin singing
and
respect. That would make
no,
sense.
no, I will not. I will not. I will not. I will not disrespect the 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 person who I've argued almost to fisticuffs with other people about being the greatest singer of all times.
Okay.
Aretha Franklin is
I will defer.
yeah, that's a whole different podcast that should happen another time. And
Yeah.
you know that's
It's
a
too highbrow for bananas and tailpipe kind of
yes,
conversation.
exactly. So yes, right now. So all right, so
So
that
I
takes
am
us.
back. I'm back to exactly where I was the last time
I
I
think
was
you're a
on the
little further.
podcast.
I think you're a little further ahead of where you were last time we recorded episode 4.
Oddly
So
enough, I'm in a different room, but my
oh,
therapist went to the other room the other day. Oh, I'm going to pick up Amy. So he went back to the room I was in before.
nope,
No, there's a naked old man in that room. It's quite funny.
that
Um,
doesn't sound pleasant at all.
but I have a maxi lift here, so I actually have a harness from the ceiling that they use to move me around. So I'm in the fancy room.
Careful of the word. Careful using the word maxi. Brings other bad things to light.
Well, I used the word harness, and you didn't
Yes.
pick up on that. I
No
figured you'd
harness.
jump on.
No harness is good. Harness is fine. Harness is
Okay.
fine. The maxi thing. Anyway, so just to give you a did you get a chance? I think we talked about this.
Yep.
So there's a couple things that we wanted to revisit. Um, we talked about the my little adventure in the at the wilds. And oddly enough,
But not from my perspective, which
no, not from your perspective.
I was cracking up I was laughing the whole time.
Yes, of course you were laughing at my pain because that's what you do.
It was just a bathroom, and the
No,
lady got everyone out of it.
no, she didn't. She didn't. That was the thing, though. She didn't get everyone out of it. She just warned them that I was coming,
Well, the difference is
and then and, no,
all
and
you had
then
to do was walk to that stall,
no, no, ma'am, no. Yes, I had to walk to that stall, but then the lady who ran interference for me on the way in
and she
left.
left.
She left.
Yeah,
She abandoned us. She abandoned me, and now I finally because look, it's not like it's a 30-second activity. Get
yeah.
you on, get you back and
And you
all.
were
But
so quiet. You didn't want to say a word.
no,
You
I
didn't
didn't
want
want
anyone to
anybody to
know you
like
were in there.
freak out that I was in there. And then she left. She abandoned us. So now I have to like announce my presence with authority, like Nuke Lelouch throwing a fastball, first ball fastball. I want to announce my presence with authority. So now I have to announce my presence in there, which is creepy, and you don't know who's doing what. The whole thing was just was
It was not as bad. I mean, I don't think the women cared. Imagine me going into a men's room with urinals. Imagine you
yes,
having to push me past urinals.
yes,
At
and
least
that
in a women's room, everything that a woman does is in a stall.
okay.
It is behind closed doors.
That's okay. Valid point. But here's the thing. I could have blindfolded you going into the men's room until we got into the stall, and that would have worked. I can't blindfold me. I'm the one that's driving. You know what I'm saying? So
I
it's
know.
I know it's again it was that was one of our little adventures, right? And then what was the other? There was one other one on that. Oh, it was the airport. It was
Almost missing the flight.
well,
Yeah,
we didn't
we
almost
missed
miss
me
the flight.
going on the plane first, which is what's typical.
Yes,
We were
that
too
part we
late for
missed.
that.
Yes, that part we missed, so you had to wait, and that's because that wasn't a bad bathroom. It was just poorly marked.
I
We
just like
walked
the
past it like 3 times.
I like the faces of people because we're on that escalator or the walking sidewalk with with the wheelchair.
Moving sidewalk with the wheelchair.
Yeah, just trying to find that. It
Right.
just wasn't clearly marked. It was
Oh, it was
not.
horribly marked, and that was a very dark hallway, or
It
like a
was.
very dark like a very dark throughway, and that was middle of the day or like early. It was earlier, like mid morning, so it should have been brighter. It should have been better lit. But
Shoulda,
beyond that,
coulda.
but
Yeah,
but once we got in there, once we found it and we got in, it was fine.
it was good. Hmm.
That was good. And then historically, we talked about we touched on the places. Sometimes, like if when we've been out driving, we're driving somewhere, trying to get somewhere, and
Hmm.
and you have to go. So it's like pull into a Walgreens, pull into a Target. I know Target's kind of your favorite.
Yeah, Myers good
Mine,
usually.
yeah. If you
They're
have
usually
one of those
close to
in
the
your area,
front,
right?
which can be important.
Yes,
Gas stations are awful.
typically,
Um, yeah, road trips are difficult.
right.
I will say that.
Now, like for as much as I didn't like the turnpikes, the Ohio and Pennsylvania Turnpike,
Right.
I didn't
Those are
like
good.
those. I didn't like those because of the food choices, but the bathrooms, no, no, because what was the bad chicken?
The bad chicken.
I don't. Maybe we shouldn't say it because who knows? Maybe they'll sponsor us at some point. But
Yeah,
remember, Roy, was it Roy Rogers?
I
You
can't
remember
remember.
we were driving
I
back.
usually don't have a problem with chicken, you know that.
No, I know, but remember it was real dry and gross. It was like I took a bite out of one piece of chicken, and I think I could
Eh,
have hammered a nail in the
maybe
wall
they're having a bad day. Who knows?
with it. Ish. But there's good bathrooms. But there are good bathrooms in those.
Yeah,
Uh,
and you're right. The rest areas are good, but
yes.
they're also state mandated. They're also
All right.
taken care of. And I get how difficult it is for private owners to build an extra companion bathroom or to make extra space over the years. I totally understand that. But I mean, the ADA, the American with Disabilities Act, is changing, and they are requiring different things. And I'm sorry, people need
Yep.
to step up,
And well, I
especially
don't.
as the baby boomer generation gets older too.
Well,
Is that a lot of the handicapped accessible things are also elderly accessible. And the baby boomer generation is huge. They're getting
well,
older. They need help too.
everybody says that they talk about the baby boomers, the baby boomers, the baby boomers. Here's the thing. I'd like to know what the number. I'd like to see what the numbers are of the baby boomers that are still with us because the baby boomer generation is this many people. Well, I got news for you. My parents, Allison, there's a lot of parents of people my age that were in the baby boomer generation that are no longer with us. Not only yes, they are getting
Yeah.
older, but their numbers aren't growing. And they're certain. I think they're shrinking. So there's so I question the baby boomer numbers at this point.
I do also, but I also know that elderly assistance is getting much bigger.
That's true.
There's more awareness of that. I mean, you don't have to be 80. I mean, like my parents are.
Right.
You don't have to be that old to need assistance. I mean, the three of us, we've even discussed needing a ranch house.
Yeah.
We don't do the two-story houses that were so glamorous and everyone wanted them when we were younger. We're like, oh, forget that. Give me a ranch. We don't want stairs.
With the way my
So
ankle.
getting older, I mean, we need to changes,
Yes.
and bathrooms are going to be one of them.
Between dizzy spells and ankle problems in the morning for
Yeah.
me with the Parkinson's, uh, yeah,
Hi, Hilda.
stairs are an
Sorry,
adventure.
my favorite night nurse is here.
Oh, hi Hilda.
Hi.
So,
Well,
all right.
thank you.
So we talked about so we did the wild story, and um, Allison touched on something
Really
that
will.
was
Thank you.
Allison touched on something that was really interesting.
Okay.
Uh, about how the way the doors swing
Right, and
in
for a
limited space.
public bathroom to be ADA compliant, um, there are certain dimensions, there are certain heights for the handles, there's certain requirements that have to be met, but they're not always perfect. And Elsa and I have had our share of adventures because the way that the actual you've got the stall door and the bathroom door.
Right.
I've dealt with both of those. The stall door if it pulls out, you have to get your wheelchair in. Um, that's much easier, but it also blocks off the pathway for other people.
Right.
If the door goes in, it takes up negative space inside the stall. So you got a person in the wheelchair, and the space that's taken up by opening the door in. But there are requirements, and I'm trying to remember. I think the door swinging in is the preferred configuration for handicap stalls. I think because, like I said, it doesn't take up the aisle space. Um, but no, Allison, we found ourselves in some interesting situations. We're trying to fit the three of us, getting me out of the chair onto the toilet, and then what do you do with the chair?
So yeah, just to be clear, because you've said this a couple times, we just in general conversation. When you say the three of us, you mean you, Allison, and the wheelchair.
Yes.
Okay.
Or
Because
you, or whoever else is helping me, because I
well, no,
can't
no,
do it
I
by
get that. No,
myself.
I understand. But when you say that some people might interpret when you first used the term the three of
Party in
us
the
to me
bathroom.
was like that there was you and two other people in
No,
there.
no, no, no. There
Well,
might
you're
be after this incarnation. I'm really having a struggle with that with rehab right now, but I'm gonna get there because
yeah,
four of us will not fit in a stall.
no, no,
Mm,
no,
not
no.
happening.
It will. Oh, and just speaking of, well, just completely off the topic. I don't know why I'm just bringing this. It'll please you to know that I have now achieved full on transport mode for you for Mongo. Tops off, doors are off. I'm ready for the summer, and I can
'Tis the
easily pick you
season.
up from the ship. So
'Tis
go back.
the season.
Yeah, go back to episode 3 for that story. So
So
the other
bathrooms are challenging just by
bathroom.
their configuration.
Yeah, so you mentioned, so the stall door is a problem. The other thing, and I don't know. I don't know that there's a happy answer to this unless it's like a pocket door or something. Because every door you're going to have to deal with the door.
Yep,
If it's a single entrance, if it's a bathroom with a single entrance, it's not like when you go to the ball. Sometimes when you go to a ball game, you go to a stadium, you have an entrance door over here and then an exit door on the other end,
right.
and fine. But if you're talking one singular entry point,
Mhm.
you're dealing with the door swinging the wrong way, either on the way
Right.
in or on the way out. There's no way there, unless it's like unless it's a door that swings both ways, like you're walking into some, old west saloon,
Yeah, I wish.
which
Just
would be
imagine, and this has
which would
happened,
be
me being in the
hysterical.
wheelchair and needing to get into the bathroom.
Right.
And at one point, I did not have someone pushing me. So I am at that door, and whether it goes in, it still takes quite a force because those doors are not light. So
No.
I'm trying to push me and the wheelchair forward with my hand, and there's no way to do that. In the inverse, with it coming out, if I'm in the chair, there's no way for me to grab
Yeah.
onto the
No.
door and still wheel backwards.
Yeah, it's not a one
So
person
that's
job.
difficult.
Unless,
They just,
well, I was going to say, unless in a case like that, they have the automatic doors, the push button automatic doors, which they do for entries into the building and exits.
Mhm.
Entries and exits in and out of a lot of buildings. That's become a pretty standard thing. Why is the bathroom different?
It is hit and miss. It is total hit and miss. I will say I have met the nicest people because you see this person in a wheelchair desperately trying to get in the bathroom.
Yes,
It is really an interesting look at society to see which people continue walking by and which people offer to help. I
yes.
mean, I've had gentlemen, at least offer to open the door, which, for a women's bathroom, it might make them nervous, but
Eh.
they can see me struggling.
Yeah, no, no, that's there. Look, there's people out there that are going to be helpful. There's people out there that are going to recognize that they can take 2 seconds out of their lives and pull a door open and hold it for you. And then there's other people that just will walk by and ignore you or pretend they didn't see it or
Right.
whatever the case. Yeah, there's a name for those people: ass wipes,
Oh,
or or
and no pun intended for the episode.
yes,
That's another
exactly.
good
Well,
word for the
that's
episode.
kind of what he said. Unless we, of course, and then there's the foreign pronunciation of it, eswipe. Um, the
Nice.
eswipes of the
I thought
world.
Dory would pronounce it.
Yes,
Escape.
yeah, yes, eswipe. Um, so
No, public bathrooms are hit and miss, but
right,
I will say the ADA did a huge step forward in mandating that at least one stall is handicapped. There are, however, I mean, that is the only national mandate.
right,
And there are no mandates for what they now have started calling companion restrooms.
right.
What we used to call family restrooms have now been called companion restrooms. So the verbiage is out there. They're starting to think about it, but there is no public mandate for that.
Well, and you get the ones. I was thinking about the one. There was a few of them that were good when we went to PNC Park and saw the Pirates game.
Mhm.
And there was one that was very nice. It was good size. It also had the baby changing station in it. We could set
Which
that
is
down, which was
which is
great.
why we had to wait. Do you remember
Well,
we had to stand there and wait?
sure. Look, we're gonna
Yeah,
sometimes you're gonna have to wait, but
yeah,
if I brought my lunch in there, I'd give me a place to eat while you're going to the bathroom.
that is true.
Yeah, it gives you can.
Just bring some little antiseptic
It's like
wipes
having a
and
little
yeah.
counter. It's like having a little countertop in there.
And there are some restrooms. I know you made fun of IKEA, but IKEA actually has a companion restroom that was big enough to have adult and child-sized toilets,
Right.
so the whole family can go together at one time.
Fantastic. But
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't like the
nice.
fact that I had to put the toilet together first before I used it.
Ah, nice. At least you put it together. It
Yeah,
didn't take
well,
5 days.
it
I
took
will
5 days.
say the fun restrooms are, and I know you guys hit on this, um, the ones that have or they think they're handicapped accessible, where they do have the grab bars. This is you mentioned it. The one on the back of the toilet. It serves no purpose. It looks good. Okay, we have bars. It's accessible. No, it's not. That's not how it works. Or when they put they will put the hands-free towel dispenser, hands-free faucet, but you have to push the button for the soap. Well, I can't get my hand that high, much less okay, well, great, 2 out of 3 isn't bad.
Soap's optional.
Yeah. So, I mean, and so a lot of times my caregiver will have to get soap on their hand to help me wash mine, and,
Well,
it happens. It's just I've yet to find, even at the hospitals I've been at, the bathrooms where they're all perfectly at the right height, they're all hands-free. Oh, and that they're all working,
right. Well,
because with
that's a thing.
technology comes
Batteries.
issues and stuff, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's sometimes that's a thing. I stand by the statement, however, I that I have made in the past that I'm not full transparency. Not always washing my hands. You know why? Because I didn't get anything on them.
Ooh, yeah, true.
Simple. You know. And somebody's like, well, yeah, but you touched your thing, you touched your junk, and to which my response is, that's the cleanest part of my body anyway, and I know it's the cleanest part of my body because I spend more time rubbing it with soap than any other part.
I was gonna say, where are we going with this,
Yes,
Jay?
yeah. So I'm
Okay,
trying to set up the joke here. You just got to work with me on that a little
nice.
bit. So beyond so then we get into handle placement, and I know there's issues with that, and I think that's gonna vary by place, because if you have a wider stall or you have a family bathroom, depending on the configuration of things, the the handle placement in and of itself, I think, is going to vary a little bit. You mentioned like having vertical ones versus horizontal, and maybe having like a grippy, having some sort of grippy
Yeah, a
material.
grippy surface. You see me struggle with the horizontal, because
Yes,
if you're pulling yourself horizontally, it's like pulling a rope, but it's a smooth rope that you just literally just pull, 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 and it doesn't work.
right,
But you also, that my left side is my weakest. So when I go into a stall and I look at whether or not, the bar and the toilet are on the left side versus the right side, huge difference in my world.
right. But that's hard to,
Yeah, you can't account for
you can't
that.
account for that, right? Exactly. Because for every person that has a weak left side, there's going to be somebody else in there that has a weak right side.
Ta-da, yeah.
So
That's why you're my other half.
exactly. So beyond that, automatic doors. We talked about soap and towels and the dispensers. There's a note here, and I'm curious. What is towel dispensers parenthetically on your little note that you have Jessica at Marion Joy? Is there a story here with Jess and Marion Joy?
It's just there's one bath. I'm actually at Marion Joy right now.
Right.
There's one bathroom at Marion Joy. So my youngest daughter Jessica is my caregiver, and will take me to therapy. And we laugh every time. There's one bathroom that every time it is so small that every time we walk in, immediately the towel dispenser starts going crazy. It just starts dispensing towels, and we just laugh so hard. We have tried to sidestep it. We've tried to come at it from different angles, but regardless, this bathroom, it just does that. It is the
Okay.
craziest bathroom ever, and we laugh every time because you have to laugh at it
Right. Well,
because every bathroom is different. We never know what we're going to encounter when we go into space.
in space. No, that's
Yeah,
true.
it's always fun.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, because beyond that, not only within public bathrooms, there's a whole other thing, and honestly, I think this might be its own separate episode. Is hotel bathrooms.
Yeah.
Hotel bathrooms love to call themselves accessible
Mhm.
because they put one bar by the bathtub, but that's just not enough. It's not the case. We've had
Yeah.
some, there's been some good ones. There's been a couple good ones. There's been
Yep.
a couple that have been awful. So, but I think
That's a whole separate entity. Yeah.
the whole thing with the hotel and how they advertise it, that's another episode coming soon to a podcast near you.
Mhm.
Location, we talk about location, the height of things, because like you're in a wheelchair, and Allison's, Mrs. Shaky is 5 foot nothing. So there's
Yep.
not a whole lot, there's not a whole lot of room for maneuverability there. If Mrs. Shaky needs a step ladder to get to it, and you're in a wheelchair, so what are
She
they
can
gonna do
step on
for
the
you?
back of my chair. Yeah.
Right. So height is always a thing, and then the other thing that's a height. This I hadn't thought about, and you put this in our notes. The height of the sink and knocking your knees under the counter, like bumping into the drain or bumping into the sink itself because of the wheelchair. You can't get close enough.
It is better than it used to be. It used to not even be a consideration. My a lot of my disabled friends and I joke about that. Um, because like I said, to make things to say things are accessible, they might look great, but they're not functional. At least not for the people in the wheelchair.
Right.
And I've bruised my knees, I've bruised my elbows, you name it. I mean, I will say going into a public restroom is it's one of the scariest things for me because I never know what I'm going to encounter.
It's an adventure. It's an
It is.
adventure, and I said this in the last episode, and I'll say it again. It's a quote from a Neil Peart book. Adventures suck when you're having them. It's one of those things where later on you laugh and you laugh or tell a story about remember the time with this bathroom and how crazy it was, but
Mhm.
remember that time Jay, you had to push me in the women's bathroom and you were all freaked out about it.
That was a good moment
I mean,
though.
think about it. It's funny now. It's
I
funny
was
now, but
funny
at the
then for
time,
me.
well, yeah, I'm glad it was funny for one of us. So moving into the next piece, what is the because there are directions to the door open. We talked about that. Oh, and then we talked about the one in West Virginia. But the least accessible was along the highway in West Virginia. That was coming home from Delaware, I believe, right?
That was actually one I was on with my kids.
Oh, that was with
That was one you did not experience, but it was
from
you
South
could
Carolina.
not get the bathroom. You could okay, it claimed to be accessible, but you had to. My wheelchair barely fit in the hallway leading to the bathroom. Then you had to do the 90-degree angle thing, where you literally had to pick the chair up and
Yeah,
turn it to get into the bathroom. Once you got in the bathroom, you had to do the 90-degree angle again thing and turn it to get into the handicap stall. And the handicap stall was not. This again was a gas station, and they're not always good.
right.
Um, the stall was about the width of my chair. It was not a good scenario. But when you're desperate, you're on the highway, you don't know when the next stop is going to be, and yeah, we made it work, but it was not. That just kind of reminded me of road trip gas station bathrooms.
Yeah,
Stick with the big name gas stations
yeah. That
because they're more likely to be accessible.
So for those of you who again looking for sponsorships, if anybody wants to throw a sponsorship our way, here's the one you look for. Sheets, if because in the east, at least in the East Coast, Sheets, Wawa are at some point or another, Sheets and Wawa are going to like come together, and there's gonna be one right across the street from the other, and the battle royale will ensue. In the Midwest, you have Casey's, the big Casey's markets, and then randomly scattered about kind of in the South and now making their way up north. And this is the goods. Bucky's.
Yeah,
Bucky's is the jam. It's a truck stop that doesn't serve trucks.
people
If
go
you
out of their way to go to Bucky's.
Bucky's, Bucky's is amazing. And I'm saying and look, we're not getting sponsored by any of these people as of yet. I'd love to have Bucky's for a sponsor, quite honestly. But the Bucky's bathroom, they advertise themselves as having the cleanest bathroom possible. But I'm curious. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm curious because you and I have never stopped at a Bucky's. I don't know if there is a. I'm sure there's a. I got to think Bucky's has a companion restaurant. And
Absolutely.
if they don't, shame on them. In which case, I rescind all my nice things that I've said about them. But
Not until you know for sure.
but the fact that I can walk into a Bucky's, I can get a full tank of gas, a brand new pair of Olakais, a cast iron skillet, a pair of
A snow globe for wherever you are.
a
Yeah.
snow globe. I can get you can get bull horns that you might like Boss Hogg used to have on the front of his Cadillac.
Yeah.
You can get a bathing suit, any kind of candy, and brisket tacos that are to die for. Uh, all in one place. It's Bucky's. Bucky's is awesome.
Well, I've learned my lesson the hard way. I will look for that, but
Yeah.
yeah, no more just no
Dude.
name side of the road gas stations. But I will tell you, I sent you a link earlier today. I haven't looked into the organization too much, but there is the American Restroom Organization. Did you see
Yes.
the link I sent you?
I did see that, and let's make sure we put that on the website.
I will, but it's at americanrestroom.org. And for the month of July, they're doing the Great American Toilet Tour.
Yes.
They're not only visiting places to see the toilets, they're going to talk to activists, they're going to talk to political people, they're going to talk to entrepreneurs who have gone out of their way to make their bathrooms good because they want clean and safe and accessible bathrooms for everybody.
This is where, by the way, giant giant opportunity for the Toto toilet people, the Japanese toilet people to show
Yeah.
up and show up big.
Yep.
Because if you have not experienced, and I know you kind of have like a little bit with the bidets, but if you for anybody that has traveled to Japan, and especially in the airports in Japan, if you have not experienced the Japanese toilet, then you haven't lived. It's just that simple. There's a South Park episode of, and you sit down, the seat is heated, and it's not heated because somebody else was just sitting in there. You're not sitting in somebody else's BTUs.
Yeah.
You sit down, the seat is heated, and the stalls are really, it's not like American stalls. American bathroom stalls, quite honestly, are just weird. Like there's a little crack in there in case some peeping tom weirdo wants
That
to
is
come and
true.
stare
Yeah.
at you. They can
You're
see your
watching people
feet.
walk by. Yeah.
Right. That's a whole thing. No, you walk in this and it's like you're in your own little secured pod, and there's buttons on the wall that will give you can turn on some noise or something. Oh, look at that. You can turn on some noise or anything that will sort of cover the sound of what is coming out of you and or coming out of the person next door.
Yep.
The, the there's all it's like you're sitting in the Starship Enterprise with your pants around your ankles. Right.
Uh,
Right. So you press this button. So now you're done. You're done doing what you're doing, and you press this button, and water comes out and starts, giving you the spritz under, giving your undercarriage a little, how's your father, as they would say, to quote Austin Powers, gives you, and you can increase the water pressure on that thing, and I mean, you get enough water pressure. Maybe I want that water pressure to be strong enough that's going to knock me off. And then
ouch.
after that, well, then after that, after the water, after everything you feel has been cleaned sufficiently, then it comes out and it blow dries you, and you can
What?
yeah, like warm air blows on you to dry you to dry you out, to dry everything off.
Okay.
There's no toilet paper. There's no toilet
None.
paper. None. You don't need it because everything that is you are washed, you are dried, and then and while this is going on, you can futz around with some of the other buttons on the wall, and like you're talking, you can tell Spock to scan the ship that you're about to go up against or whatever else. It's very
I would be
cool.
too scared to touch any of the buttons on that thing.
Why?
You never know what they're gonna do.
Oh, well, okay. Well, no, they're labeled. It's not like guesswork. Hey, what does this button do? And then like it's a self-destruct button for the toilet and the thing blows
Exactly.
over.
Don't push the
No.
red one.
Yeah, no, that's
Or
not
maybe
happening.
don't push the brown one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right. So yeah, the brown one is where everything reverses. No,
Oh.
uh
Well, I will say
it's
that my
brutal.
doctor here, I do believe at my rehabilitation facility, he recommended a bidet.
Yes,
He highly recommended a bidet,
I get it.
which would be great. I mean, my son did install one
I know.
that promptly leaked. Luckily, it leaked into his bedroom downstairs.
Yeah, that's convenient.
So he learned that lesson, but hopefully I will get a new one.
Well, do that, but get the bidet. Not only that blasts you with water, but get one that dries you. Because then so you're never touching toilet paper. The buttons. I have no qualms about touching the buttons on the wall in the Japanese toilet because those people the other people's their hands that were touching it hasn't touched anything. You don't have to. It's hands free. It's hands free evacuation. So yeah, right. Well,
Nice.
what? I look. I could have said hands free taking a dump, but I thought evacuation
Yeah,
sounded a little classier.
you're classy.
Yes,
Yeah,
because I'm very classy.
yeah, exactly.
But
Nice.
no,
So
so
why don't we see more of these Japanese toilets?
because they're expensive.
They, oh,
Because they're expensive. And I'm convinced that the toilet paper lobby in this country is so strong they don't want it. Because
uh,
you would destroy the toilet paper companies.
so
Which, by
Big
the way,
Pharma's got nothing on like big toilet paper.
big toilet. That's exactly what it is. It's big toilet paper. It's big toilet paper squashing
Yeah,
the technology
nice.
to make sure that they can stay in business.
That's hey,
Exactly what
it
it
could
is.
be a thing.
It's big toilet paper.
Well, if people are interested in contributing to this epic American um, toilet tour, they
Yes.
can go to AmericanRestroom.org, I believe it is, and they have all sorts of games which kind of scare me. They're promising all sorts of Q&A things.
What kind of
Eh,
games?
I
I want to know
don't
what kind
know
of games.
yet, but I'm really interested to see.
Well,
We only have
it's
a month to wait.
like when you talk about games. Okay, so here's a fun little bathroom story for a
Oh
bar.
God.
Well, no, it's a bar in my neighborhood. There's a bar up the road in my neighborhood that I frequent a bit because they typically have very good bands. And in their bathroom, in the urinals, they have a small little soccer goal and a ball. And if in
What?
so the goal is to hit the ball when you're peeing. The goal is to hit the ball and knock it into the goal.
Really?
Yes, yes. And you know what? It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic.
Can't they just leave a urinal cake in there? Is that what they do anyway?
No, because in this bar there's enough people that have been drinking that they will try to take it out of there and eat it.
You know, this
Yeah.
reminds me of trying to teach little boys how to pee.
Right. You
With
know
the
how you
Cheerios, just
with the
throw some
Cheerios.
Cheerios in the toilet,
Well,
and men
yeah,
will be
sink some
amused.
yeah, sink some che yeah, sink the hit the Cheerios, but,
Yeah.
whatever. But this is similar to that. What we used to when I had the bar years ago, what we used to do is we would just load them up with ice because then it would help keep the smell down. Or we would just put a bunch of ice in there. And the great thing about the ice was you'd pick out, if you really wanted to have some fun, you'd pick out one cube of ice, and the goal was to hit that cube, hit that cube with enough pee to melt the cube.
I could
Melt
have lived my entire
melt
life without knowing men needed
Melt
this.
melt one's oh, come on. These are guys. Like, first of all, men are look, men I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna be honest about all of us.
Ugh.
We're stupid. Okay? We're idiots. And two, when it comes to standing there and peeing, yeah, we need something to entertain ourselves. We do. It's just that it's because if not, your mind wanders. And then once your mind starts to wander, your aim starts to wander.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're missing the goal here. You're missing the target,
Oh my god.
and you got a whole nother mess on your hands, or you're leaving a mess for somebody else. Just gives focus. This gives you a little bit of focus, gives you a little bit of an aiming point, and yeah, it's better. Okay.
Well, I wish I had them with me, but I will say that I've discussed this with my occupational therapist, and there are products for wheelchair-bound people
Mhm.
to be able to, for example, women, I could actually pee sitting at the edge of my wheelchair.
Like the sheepy thing.
Yeah, there's it's I wish I knew the name of it. I wish I'd prepared better.
I think it's
But
sheepy,
there are tools for women to be able to do that. So I know there are
and it's
if
not the
there's a
Axel
problem
Foley.
yeah, no, no.
It's not
If
the
there's
pad.
a
It's not
problem in
the
the disability community, someone is inventing a solution.
right.
It's very creative.
Exactly.
So
Which is
so
something which
look
by well, which by the way, whenever you those inventions, those things, those ideas, those are things that we want here. Those are the things that we want to talk about.
exactly.
So if anybody catches this and you have an idea, you have a product, you have a something, please reach out to us. Please let us know what it is. Send us a whatever it might be. Send us a funnel that looks like because the sheepy thing is basically, isn't it? This is gonna sound so gross. It's kind of a taco shaped funnel. I mean, it's
Well, the one I'm talking about, it's got the word can in it. It's literally a can. You
oh,
slide it underneath you.
okay.
The way a woman is built,
Mhm.
and you can do it if you're at the edge of something.
The edge of
So,
something.
I mean, there are possibilities.
Yep.
I mean, I have my portable toilet bedside commode
Yes.
at home that I will probably have to use again after this rehab step. But there are options out there.
Yeah.
But I will say, the public restrooms,
No.
you're running the gauntlet.
How about for your room? Like if just like in the other thing too, I'm thinking maybe litter box.
What?
I don't know. I'm just just thought
What?
just throw a litter box in your room. Um,
No,
yeah, like
no.
a really big litter box.
I just,
Yeah.
I don't even like sand. I can't imagine having litter. Ugh,
Could you imagine?
ugh,
Yeah.
nightmare.
Yes.
I
Boy,
can't
that's
even bend over to do scratch. I can't
could you imagine
cover
like
it.
somebody comes over, like some physical therapist comes over to the house and sees that litter box and and just starts like, what do you guys have, like a mountain lion or something? Oh,
Nope, just Amy.
yeah, just Amy. So coming up, something the other thing. I don't know if we want to dig into this now because we've been rolling a little longer than I thought we would anyway. It's just sort of a follow up episode. Do we the home game? It's the home game versus
That's
the
too
road game.
complicated.
Okay. All
There's
right.
a lot of products I can recommend for that.
That's another big
And I'm
episode.
facing the fact that when I go home after this reincarnation, we're calling this Amy 2.0, I'm going to have to reconfigure my bathroom
Oh,
yet
sure.
again
Yeah.
for my
You
needs.
don't,
So
and your
that I will
bathroom
deal with
doesn't.
later.
You don't have a lot of room for. You don't have a lot of room for movement there.
I do not.
But there is just the general. There's just. I think it's just the general consensus that people prefer the home game anyway.
Yeah, it's set up for your needs. You know what to expect. I
Well,
mean, the worst thing about being disabled is the constant not knowing what to expect
right.
wherever you go.
Exactly.
Every single situation. Every time you get in or out of bed, even
Yeah.
in and out of a car, even if it's Mongo. I mean, but that's life. You get used to it.
Yep. Life in the big city and the bathrooms that come along with it. That's what we could have.
Yes,
We
sir.
could have. We could have named this episode that. So I think have we have we gotten to the end of our little pathway today? Do you have anything
I
else you
think
want to
we've
add?
exhausted this topic for the moment. Yeah.
Good, because all this talk about it. Quite honestly,
You probably have to
I gotta go. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to go. Yeah, you know,
luckily yours is only next door, so
go have to knock the ball into the goal. So
yeah, do you have a game at home?
no, the home game I don't have because I don't need it. If I really want to, if I really
Yeah.
feel like I need something to hold my concentration, I'll throw a couple Cheerios in there. But
As long as it's not your phone. Only place I've ever dropped my phone has been in the toilet.
see, I have told myself every time I'm thinking it's that I think is an inevitability for anybody and everybody who takes their phone into the bathroom.
Yeah.
You're just
And everybody
asking.
does these
You're
days.
asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble. At some point or another, you're going to drop your phone into the bathroom
Yeah.
or into the toilet. So I think we are. So that catches us up. So that at least gets us caught up for this
It does.
episode 6. Episode 6, we will record in a few days or end of the week, next week, something. It'll be coming. Episode 6 will be coming soon. I don't
Absolutely.
know. Have we discussed episode 6?
I have 3 different things I'm working on.
Okay,
But
so
again, in my current state, I have to be
right, I got you.
in the zone, and therapy is exhausting.
I don't know how many other podcasts out there have the righteous purpose that we have. Yes, we're having fun, and yes, we giggled a lot today at a lot of bathroom humor. But these are but let's be honest. For people out there that have the challenges that Wheels has, and even some of the challenges that I have and will have in the future,
Hmm.
these things are important. These things are important. There's meaning to this. So please tell your friends. We are really trying to grow this thing. If you have thoughts, ideas, things you want us to talk about, things you want us to dig into, to delve into, shall I say, you can hit us up at wheelsandshaky.com or shaky@wheelsandshaky.com. The YouTube channel is there so you can visually see how this looks when we do this, which may or may not be completely and utterly ridiculous. Like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. We are on Amazon. We are on Spotify Addict or not Spotify, Podcast Addict. We're out there. We're easily found. We are easily found.
I'm seriously working on the website. I have nothing
Yep.
else to do in my downtime.
We
It
have
is very, very close.
yeah. Well, it's getting better. The website we've made progress. We've definitely made progressions in the website, and there will be more coming. So please like and subscribe. And yes, we are looking. As I've said it, we're looking for sponsorships. We're looking for ideas. We're looking for interaction with you, the listener, or I'll say the consumer of said podcast, or if you prefer the video. Send us some thoughts. Send us some thoughts, ideas. If you have some cool things, we'll read your emails. We will. We would like to interact with folks besides, just besides the two of us. I guarantee you, I know for a fact that after a while, Wheels gets really sick of talking to me. I know it's true. I know. Look, it's okay. Look, I'm no trip to Hollywood. I get it. I'm not. I'm no picnic. So,
We have our moments.
yes, we do. We do have those. So stick around for upcoming episodes. If you want to dig into historical ones, they're still out there. If you've picked us up somewhere somewhere sort of sort of midway. And thank you all for joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you to Wheels for your for your enlightenment today and everything, and really telling us what's going on with you. It was.
You're
I'll be
always
honest.
welcome.
I'll be honest with you. I was a little frightened last few weeks with what you were up against. I was worried about you.
I
So
am back. I am rolling, and I'm going to keep it going.
as you always do, I've said it before. This woman is a motivation for and should be a motivation for a million people because for everything that you have going on in your world, you are still pretty badass.
Thank you,
So
sir.
yes. All right. Thanks everybody. Like and subscribe. Follow us. Like us. Comment on things. Send us emails. Wheelsandchaky.com. The email addresses are there. You can find us. Talk to us. We are here. You are there. Meet us in the middle. Take care of each other. Look out for each other. Be well. Later.